Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. Simple project today. Not really an instructional video because it's pretty simple, but it's what I'm doing. Tell me if this happens to you as a woodworker. You tell someone that you just met, oh yeah, I'm a woodworker, at whatever level that might be for you. You tell someone, yeah, I'm a woodworker, and the first thing they do is say, really? What do you build? And my answer to that is, I build what I need. That's what I tell them. People will say, well, can you build me a dining room table? And my answer will be yes, but you're not going to like the price of it unless you want it to be built out of 2x8s, right? Because we live in a Walmart society. Anyway, I'm telling you all that so I can tell you this. The other thing that I get asked is, can you build cornhole boards? You can build cornhole boards. You don't need me to build cornhole boards for you. But I need me to build cornhole boards for me. That make any sense? I'm going to make a set of cornhole boards. Now, can you sell these? Absolutely. You can sell anything. You can sell ice to an Eskimo if you try hard enough. I actually went online to do some looking to see what a custom set of cornhole boards is going for in my area. And they range anywhere from $100 to $250. Okay. My problem is if you've ever played cornhole, you know that he's big. Holy cow, and he's coming at me. Okay, that was terrifying, but I think he went out. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, if you've ever played cornhole, you know that some of the ones that you can buy at the store, they're real bouncy, and I hate that, okay? Not that I'm some professional cornhole player, but they're not supposed to bounce, okay? So I'm going to make them out of 2x4s and plywood, and they are not going to bounce. Like I said, real simple project. The long and short of it is your playing surface, if you will, is 2 feet by 4 feet. It's got what I believe is a 6-inch hole. I'm going to look that up. A 6-inch hole at a designated place. And then you just have to have the angle correct, the height right. So the real fun comes whenever you're finishing them. Okay, because then you can get creative and do all kinds of stuff. And that's really where the price that I was seeing comes into play. I live in North Carolina, so I don't know colleges, but the North Carolina college that's blue, I don't know. Anyway, you get them painted up like that, and they're asking $225, $225 for them. I don't know that they're worth that. But that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to get busy. First thing I need to do is cut this bad boy down. I went ahead yesterday and just cut that off of a full sheet of plywood. So it's basically a 4x4 square. Half of that's going to be 2x4, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I'm going to cut this down and then we'll get into the 2x4s. Okay. I don't know if it matters, but I cut it, if there is grain to plywood, I cut it so the grain is long ways. Don't know if it matters, but what I did notice on this wood is there seems to be some imperfections, and so I think the long grain was the better route to go. Now we just build a box. Always make sure you're actually working with an 8-foot piece of lumber. I know it says it's an 8-foot board, but always make sure. This one just happens to be spot on. I've already marked it at 4 feet. Okay, for building the box, I pulled out my corner clamps. You don't need to. Again, like I said before, we're not building a skyscraper, but it's going to help keep things square. I don't know if I'm going to use it on the whole thing because I forgot how long it takes to set these up. I guess I probably could just use a squeeze clamp and eliminate this and speed that up. We'll see if that works. If it does, I'll let you know. I'm going to pre-drill mine because I'm cheap. I bought exactly enough lumber that I needed for this, not accounting for mistakes. And so I'm going to pre-drill mine just to make sure we don't have any little happy surprises here. I am using 3-inch Power Pro exterior wood screws. It's not because that's what it calls for, but that's because it's what I've got. So if I had better clamps, this would work great. Okay, box is built. I chose to put one cross piece in for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm lazy, but two, because I think it's enough. But I had this planned for 2 2x4s per board, not per set, per board. And if I put more than one cross piece in, I'm not going to have enough to make the legs. Yes, I have scrap around here. I could definitely do that, but I'm trying to keep this at 2 2x4s. Now the time is to put the top on, or the playing surface. I'm just taking a quick look at this, and this side looks like a train wreck. This one looks okay. Don't worry about, oh mercy. Don't worry about all the printing on here unless you're going to just sand this and coat it. You have to have some kind of coating on this for the boards to slide. I am going to paint mine, so that's not really going to matter too much to me. A little bit overhang there. It doesn't have to be, if you're making this for your house, it doesn't, listen, we're not building, you know, PCA worthy, that's, no, not PCA, NCA, National Cornhole Association. We're not making National Cornhole Association boards. We're making them so we can go outside and have some fun with them. So don't worry about being precise on. For this, I am switching to 1.25" Power Pro deck screws, because that's what I have. And they're long enough. I'm working with a half-inch plywood, so that should be fine. We don't want to lose that. Put that over there where we're going to lose it. That's my drill. I don't want that. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. I'm just going to go 4 corners and then fill in everything else. It is getting not hot, but humid out. So I got that going for me. Ah! Okay, so I just spent 25 minutes looking through all of the boxes and out in the garage and everything, looking for something that was on the shelf behind me. Jigsaw. This is not a good jigsaw. It's just not. I bought this at a pawn shop in Wheeling, West Virginia, for $15, and but it's what I got. So I have my circle traced out. I'm not going to lie to you. Where's it at? Because I'm not good at things like circles, this is the base plate off of my larger Craftsman router that I never use. I just never use it. Just so happens it's exactly 6-inch diameter. So that's cool. Now we just have to cut this out close to, not close, it needs to be on. Okay, it needs to be a circle. So let's see how that goes. Drill yourself a hole and get the blade in. This isn't even plugged in. Good Lord. Now what do we got? Ah. Okay, so that went okay. Is it 100% perfectly cylindrical to machinist standards? No. No, but again, this is for your backyard. And really, even if you're selling them, as long as you're really close, that's fine. If you're having a picnic and you invite your friends over to play some cornhole and they come over and say, hey, it's a little bit out, that's not the kind of friend you want. Tell them to go home. Save the hot dogs for yourself. I'm just kidding. I don't even have friends. Anyway, you take a look for it yourself. I mean, oh mercy, it's pretty good. I took a piece of wood and wrapped sandpaper around it and went around the hole because there were places where I had to back the saw up and then come back in it, and so you're going to get those little bumps. You know what I mean. So I got them all taken down. Also, run some sandpaper on the back side or the inside, just in case of splinters, because that would be embarrassing if you are having someone reach in to get the bags out of there and they get a splinter. That'd be bad. So the next thing for me is I'm going to run an 80 grit. Oh, also, I wanted to put, I thought about putting a little round over, like a little 1/8 inch round over up here, but I actually don't think I'm allowed as per rules. I don't think it should have a round over. Unfair playing advantage or something like that. I don't know. I'm just assuming that. So I'm going to hit this with an 80 and then a 120, and then this one is ready for paint. And then I'm going to go eat lunch and then I'll come back out and build the other one, and I'll bring you in when I'm ready to throw paint on them. I timed it this time to see how long it would take if I wasn't filming. 26 minutes from nothing to this. Now it's time to paint. Or however you're going to do this, whatever you're going to do to this, I will tell you that you cannot leave this bare. You can't. It's just not good. You got to do something to it. I am going to paint mine. Now you can paint this one solid color and that will be perfectly fine. If you're going to do that, my recommendation is choose a light color. You need to be able to see the hole. In a rare instance, what's happening here? In a rare instance of woodworking, I'm actually going to use blue painter's tape for what it was intended, and that is painting. So now I paint. I didn't go to Home Depot, I went to Lowe's. I bought the cheapest paint I could find. This is an interior paint, and that's fine, because technically you should put these in your garage or your shed or something. Okay, I said I bought the cheapest paint that there was. It says it's a paint and primer. Maybe. It's super thick. That much I can tell you right now. Wow. Oh, we're gonna need a lot more than that. And I only bought a quart of each, so I'm hoping, basically, that that's going to be enough. If my buddy Jim is watching, can you guess what the other color is going to be? I should probably explain that. In my last church, there was a gentleman named Jim who was from Cleveland. Okay? And if you know anything about Pittsburgh and Cleveland, let's just say they don't work and play well with each other. So he would have me paint this orange and brown. But no, we're going with the good colors, black and yellow. Funny thing about living in Pittsburgh is you cheer for the black and gold, but it's black and yellow. I don't know. Okay, so a day or two later, I don't remember, the painting is done. It's got 3 coats of yellow. My advice to you is if you're using the side that has the printing on it, try and get as much of that printing off as possible. The problem I was running into was I couldn't cover that. So I got 3 coats of yellow, 2 coats of black, and then I went back over it with 2 coats of a water-based urethane to smooth everything out, because that's how this game works. The bag has to be able to hit, and it's either going to stick or slide depending on how you throw. Now, and you can see, I went with the opposite, black in the middle, yellow in the middle. Most beautiful colors in the world, my opinion, being from Pittsburgh. Anyway, now I have to figure out the legs. It's ACA, by the way, the American Cornhole Association, ACA. The top of this playing surface, right where it stops, has to be 12 inches from the ground. So we have to make our legs accordingly. What I've done is stuck a piece of wood under the center just to hold these up in place so that I can get my measurements. And I'll bring you over and I'll show you how I went about doing that, because there's angles and math and... Okay, knowing that this is the angle that this is going to be at, I have taken my least favorite tool and basically set it flat to the table. And it's already wrong. There we go. And that gives me the angle. Now, if that's that angle, that should also be this angle, which should also be the angle that I need for the tops of the legs. We're going to find out. So once you've marked your angle on your board, or you can do it just putting this on the saw, but I prefer to do it that, put the mark on the board. Then you just adjust around till you get it right. And in my case, which really should be the case of all of them, it is 10 degrees. So now I just need to cut these at the right length, at the right angle. Everything should be fine. Okay, if you hate angles like I hate angles, and length and math, I think I saw this on Matthew Peach. Here's an easy way to do this. All right, I'm going to line this up. I know my upright 2x4 is right about there. I'm going to line this up with the plywood and just mark on the inside of my bench, and my hand's in the way and you can't see that, but that gives me the length I need from here to here. And from there, I can just repeat it on the other legs. I need to do 4 of these, 2 boards. Okay, so just a real quick, hey, here's something I did. These are my leftovers from each 2x4 that I had. Like I said, I bought the exact amount. So I didn't want to have to move my angle 15 times. So all I did was cut one angle there, one angle there, same here. This is the one that's marked, so I can basically measure from my high point down. That's going to give me the same all the way across. Now I can put this back to 0 and get this finished. So if you've done that right, you should end up with 4 legs that are reasonably close in size. Not sure. Don't ask. I don't. Never wear flip-flops in the shop. Anyway, this is where that scrap piece of 2x4 comes in, because I messed up. Had I not messed up, you could have done this, and this is what you would have had left. By the way, neither of those are long enough. And of course, the easiest way to combat that problem is simply just put a stop block on there. Cut your first one, make sure it's right, put a stop block on, cut the rest of them the same. I never do that because I always trust my measurements. And you see how that's worked out for me. So once you have your legs cut, go ahead and slip them under. Make sure they are still at the right height, which at this point, if they are not, I can't do anything about it because I'm out of 2x4. Fortunately, I am on within a 16th, maybe an 1/8. Again, if your friends are going to come out and get a tape measure out and measure it, they're not your friends. Okay. A lot of different ways you can do legs. I have seen a lot of the legs that fold up, which is really kind of cool for storage. I didn't buy the things you need to do that, which is, I'm guessing, a long bolt and a couple washers and things like that. Plus, again, I like the stability of the boards with solid mounted legs, and so that's what I'm going to do. And that's just a matter of running some screws to it. And then it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and jack some screws in here, making sure that all, plus my other pet peeve, which is not going to happen in this case, as it turns out, is I want my legs to not stick out past this. I see a lot of people that'll put them on an angle, and that's great because it's not going to allow this to move, but it's not going to move anyway. It's made out of 2x4s and it weighs 14,762 pounds. It ain't going to move. And the reason I like to do this way is because I can put this in the garage, stand it up on end, and the legs aren't going to be sticking it out, making it look all wonky. Case in point. It doesn't matter what I do with my picture frame jig, it will never sit perfectly straight. It's just the way I built it. There's something sticking out of every corner, and I don't want that to happen with the boards. Using the same Power Pro 3-inch deck screws, 1.5 and 1.5 is 3, so I don't want to go jamming these things in there and have it poking out the other side. It's going to just, okay? Okay, they're done. Solid as a rock, but let's do a price breakdown since I actually have that this time. I'm not using stuff I've already had. No accounting for dust, that comes for free. This is from the Lowe's store in Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay, I had to buy plywood. 1/2 inch, sorry, 19/32, 1/2 inch plywood, 4x8 sheet was $27.78. I had to get 2 quarts of paint. Holy cow, $17.98 a piece for $35. That was the stain I bought. That doesn't count. I don't have no idea what this is. You ever buy stuff and don't know what it is? I had to get paint supplies. Let's put it that way. Rollers, the little trays and all of that. So in paint supplies, I have $3.28, $11.56, $6.98, and $3.36. And then my 2x4s, 4 2x4s, I went with Select because they seem to be straighter and less. Those cost me $15.40. Okay, so if you've already got paint, if you've already got supplies for painting and things like that, your cost on this for the most part is going to be the wood. Okay, so you're looking at $27 and $15. Math brings that to, let's say, I don't know, $43. Yeah, we'll say $43 in wood. That's plywood and 2x4s, and you can stick this together. Now, if you want to buy a hole saw, I looked at Lowe's. You can get a 6-inch hole saw there for $30. Holy moly! When I told my wife that the other night, she looked on Amazon and you can get one for like $12. And if you're going to be banging these things out, I highly recommend the hole saw. Okay, it's a lot quicker, a lot more accurate. So even if you have to buy a hole saw, let's be not conservative, and let's say $45 in lumber, $55, $57 with the hole saw. Okay, as I said, in my area, painted up, and I looked this up, University of North Carolina colors, people are asking $250 for a set of these. Okay, these right here, I could sell these probably for $125 since I have my painting and stuff like that. If you have everything you need, you can sell these for $125, $150, and you're still making money. But none of that matters. And oh, by the way, for my folks in Pittsburgh, this yellow does not look as fluorescent in person as it does on the camera. I looked through the camera and said, my word, that doesn't even look close. It's a lot nicer in person. But the real test is, how do they work? Well, let's go find out. Well, there you go. Fun was had by all. The boards worked great. They looked great. I will always get a little bit of grief because of where I live whenever I do anything in Pittsburgh colors, but it was fun. We had a great time. So don't be afraid to do this. And if your friends come to you and say, hey, can you build me some boards? Absolutely you can. They can too, but don't tell them that. You can charge them. So, all right. I thank you for hanging out with me today in the shop. Actually, the past couple of days. I'll see you on the next one. God bless.